So today, we're talking about a major issue unfolding in Nigeria, the ongoing trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, also known as IPOB, has caught the attention of many. It's a deeply significant matter, not just because of the political implications, but also the legal and human rights concerns it raises. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this. Thank you. Recently, a group called the American Veterans of Igbo Dissent, AVID, has come out with some bold statements. They are claiming that Kanu's trial is an unconstitutional abomination, and that the legal grounds for his detention and trial are frankly invalid. This is heavy because it suggests that the entire case might not even have a legal basis in the first place. Let's break this down. The charges Kanu is facing have been a topic of controversy for a while now. The AVID group points out that the law under which Kanu is being charged was repealed, or in their words, non-existent. So, how is it even possible for him to be tried under a law that doesn't even apply anymore? The way they see it, Kanu is being held hostage, not tried for a crime. They're calling for his immediate and unconditional release. And that's a huge claim, one that could have ripple effects not just within Nigeria, but internationally too. Now, we all know that Nnamdi Kanu is a significant figure. He leads IPOB, a group that has called for the independence of the southeastern region of Nigeria, a region historically marked by struggles for political and economic equality. The Nigerian government, naturally, has a tough stance on this. Secession is not an option in their eyes. But Kanu supporters view him differently. To them, Kanu represents hope and a voice for the oppressed. And that's where the conflict starts. The government sees IPOB's push for secession as a threat to national unity, while Kanu and his followers see it as a fight for self-determination, justice, and fairness. But this latest development, the claims by AVID, adds a new layer to the conversation. It's no longer just about whether IPOB should exist or not. This is about the fairness of the trial, the legality of the charges, and whether or not international laws are being respected. Because Kanu holds British citizenship, there's an international angle here. If the UK gets involved, that's something the Nigerian government will have to contend with. Kanu's lawyers have been vocal in their stance, arguing that his detention is a violation of his basic rights. And now, with AVID's statement, this has become an even bigger issue on the world stage. There's also the question of our national security. The Nigerian government argues that IPOB poses a threat to the country's security and stability. They claim that Kanu's actions have incited violence and unrest, particularly in the southeast, where IPOB has a strong following. So, from the government's perspective, the trial is about protecting the state from threats. But this is where it gets tricky. If you're a citizen or a group that feels marginalized, you might see this as an example of overreach. You might view the government's crackdown as heavy-handed and unjust. This case has turned into a battle over how far the government can go to protect its unity versus how much power it has to silence dissent. Now, the court hearing for Kanu's case is scheduled for November 20. It's the next step in a trial that has already lasted several years. The thing is, if the courts decide to push forward with this case despite the claims made by AVID, it could signal a lot of things. For one, it could show that the Nigerian judiciary is willing to press ahead with the case even when some people believe the charges are rooted in outdated laws. The government could also send a message that no one is above the law, even if they have international backing or citizenship elsewhere. But on the flip side, if the court decides that the charges aren't valid and orders Kanu's release, it could have massive implications for the government. It would raise serious questions about the state's power to prosecute individuals, especially in cases where the law itself is in question. And here's the thing that's going to keep people talking. This issue isn't just about Kanu anymore. It's become a symbol for something much larger. It's about that heart justice, has fairness, heed and heed, the rule of law. In a country that's still grappling with issues of corruption, political tension, and inequality. If Kanu's supporters feel that the trial is unjust, others will take notice. If Kanu is seen as a martyr, it could galvanize people across the country who are frustrated with the current government. This could lead to more protests, more instability, and more pressure on the government to act. And let's not forget that the international community is also keeping a close eye on this. We've already seen statements from human rights organizations and from the American Veterans Group. If Kanu's case garners more international attention, we could see diplomatic pressure put on the Nigerian government. That could come from the Akanamku Ka because of Kanu's British citizenship, or from international bodies like the United Nations or Human Rights Watch. If this happens, it could put Nigeria in a tricky spot. Do they continue to pursue this trial despite external criticism? Or do they back down and let Kanu go? So, what's next? Well, the trial is coming up in just a few days, and we'll likely see a lot of back and forth in the legal arena. We'll hear arguments from both sides, and the court will have to decide whether to proceed or not. If the case goes to trial and Kanu is convicted, it could set a major precedent for how the Nigerian government handles secessionist movements in the future. On the other hand, if Kanu is released, it could send a message that there are limits to the government's power when it comes to silencing political opposition. Let's talk about the broader implications here. This case is about secession, but it's also about a government overreach and civil liberties. How far should the government go to maintain control over its citizens? How much freedom should people have to speak out, even if their views are unpopular? These are questions that extend far beyond Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. They go to the heart of what it means to live in a country where freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and the rule of law are supposed to be respected. In the end, this trial is going to have serious consequences for the political future of Nigeria. If Kanu is acquitted or set free, it could spark a wave of protests and unrest, not just in the southeast, but across the country. If the government wins the case, it will be a victory for national unity. But it could also fuel discontent among people who already feel marginalized. Either way, this story isn't over, it's only just beginning. So keep your eyes peeled, because this trial is going to shape the future of Nigerian politics in a big way. And I want to hear from you. What do you think about the trial? Is the government overstepping, or is this all about protecting the country's unity? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video and hit that subscribe button for more updates on these and other important stories. I'll be following the story closely, so stay tuned for more insights as the trial develops. Keep safe, and I'll see you next time.